All right, what's up, everybody? Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 4 has just released, and we are really fucking back. Like, for real this time. We're actually back. Like, for the record, I mean it this time. And before I get into my thoughts about this episode, I want to preface this by saying that I did rewatch episodes 2 and 3 right before I watched this, and that definitely improved my opinions on those episodes a lot. And I think that I didn't necessarily give them a fair review last time. I wasn't really necessarily in the best headspace, and I was kind of just like already pissed off, and I was looking for reasons to nitpick and yada yada yada, and I was being a little bit too harsh, and I rewatched those episodes, and they're really not that bad. They're not nearly as bad as I was painting them out to be. They're actually pretty decent. I'm not going to say that they're masterpieces or anything, but they were decent. And the fight scene in the prison was actually good. Like, I don't know what kind of crack that I was smoking last time when I said that it looked bad. It's definitely different than the Netflix one takes. I'll give it that. Sorry, I got to reposition this camera a little bit. It's definitely different than the Netflix fights, and it can be kind of jarring. But I think that I needed time to accept the fact that this show is very stylistically different from the Netflix show. It's taking more of a comic book styled like approach rather than the gritty realism of the Netflix show, and I think it takes a little bit of time, at least it did for me, to accept that and like fully like accept, like, let it sink in, I guess. I don't know. I'm not saying that, episodes 2 and 3 are actually masterpieces or anything, like I said, but I didn't necessarily give them a fair review last time, and I do want to go back and say they are decent. They're not amazing or anything, but they're fine. I think episodes 1, 2, and 3 are all fine. And they definitely elevate this episode and what it builds up to, and I want to get into my thoughts about this episode because, dude, they were not lying when they said that this show or this season really locks in at episode 4. I was having a hard time believing it because I had been so unimpressed by the first 3 episodes. Again, I was kind of being a little bit harsh on them, but still, like, it is still a quality jump. I do want to get this, like say this. It is still a quality jump going from the first 3 episodes to this new episode. Like, it is noticeably better. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're finally starting to get into things, and we're finally starting to get to the juice of it all. And so that definitely helps. But yeah, those people that got the early screenings were not lying when they said that this season really locks in around episode 4. I was really struggling to believe that, especially after I saw the first 3 episodes. Again, not saying that they're bad, but they were just so kind of like fine that I was like, okay, like, we're 3 episodes in and it still hasn't really impressed me. Like, is episode 4 really going to take that leap? It does. It does take that fucking leap, dude. It takes 3 of those leaps. Like, it is so good. Like, dude, there were so many moments in this episode where I just had an ear to ear grin like I have right now. Like, I damn started this review with a grin on my face. Like, it was just so, I loved watching this episode, dude. It was such a great experience. Like I said, there were so many scenes that just had me giddy and that just had me like grinning from ear to ear, and I was locked in, dude. I was really locked in, and this show also just really locked in around this time, and I'm very glad that it did, and I'm very glad to see where it goes from here, cuz man, woo, we got a lot to unpack. It was, oh my god. First of all, Bullseye, um I don't know why they did this, but they released 2 clips from this episode earlier today. The first one was the whole diner sequence. Is it level? Is my camera level? I can't fucking tell if it's level or not. I don't know. Whatever. Who gives a shit? For some reason they released 2 clips from this episode earlier today. First one, they released the diner clip where he's killing all the anti-vigilante task force people and whatever. Um, and then they also released the clip of him and Matt fighting in his apartment. I don't know why they did that. They didn't really need to. Like, I don't really understand the whole reasoning behind that. Like, were they trying to get people hype or whatever? Like, there's other scenes I think maybe that they could have released other than those two, but there were other, like, those weren't the only good scenes in the episode. And that's what I was worried. I was like, why are you releasing clips of the best scenes from this upcoming episode before the episode even comes out? But I'm happy to say that those weren't even the best scenes. They were some of the best scenes, but I don't think it was all of them. Like, there were still plenty of stuff that they hadn't shown that I'm glad that they kept under wraps because, dude, oh my God. Um, but yeah, Bullseye is he's so fucking great, dude. He reminds me of Homelander in a way of like he's so unpredictable, and whenever he comes on screen, I just get so like excited but like also nervous at the same time cuz you just don't know what the fuck he's going to do, you know? Like he's a very charismatic character, like you love seeing him on screen. Wilson Bethel just chews up the scenery every single time he's on screen, and it's just so fun to watch him, dude. Like, it is so much fun. He plays this character with such like a personality and just like a I don't know how to describe it, dude. He's so damn charming too. Like, he's a fucking psycho killer, but he's also charming as hell. It's crazy. But yeah, Bullseye is phenomenal in this episode, and I'm so glad that they are doing him the way they are because it's just it's so great. And I'd wager to say that it's one of the only things in this show that I feel like is on par with the Netflix show is this show's characterization of Bullseye. I think is on par with the Netflix show. You can argue that. I don't really care. I'm not saying that definitively or anything, but I thoroughly enjoy their characterization of Bullseye in this show, and it is just it's so damn much fun. Whoa. It's so much damn fun to watch. And that whole, even though I watched the clip that they released earlier today of him fucking shit up in the diner, I still, when I was watching the episode, was watching that scene with a big ass grin on my face, dude. Like, oh my God. And they didn't, they cut it down a little bit. The clip that they released, they didn't release like the full clip. They did cut it down a little bit, but just everything, dude. From the way he unwraps the straw, all of the little nuances in his performance and his body language and everything is just so fucking perfect. And I feel like it's carried over perfectly from the Netflix show. And it is just it's so perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything more. From the way he unwraps the damn straw to the way he chugs down that damn milkshake in literally like 2 seconds, which is something that at first glance you'd be like, okay, what the fuck? Like, how do you chug a milkshake in like 0.2 seconds like he did? But while I was watching the episode, I did think a lot about this. I know, like it's stupid, but I did think a lot about this, and it does make sense that, like, you got to think about this, right? Bullseye has got to have some of the most insane, like, lung strength, like, in the world, you know? Because think about it, right? He spit out a tooth with enough force to like damn near kill a guy last season. Like literally like broke his face. Like blood spattered everywhere, right? Like he did that up close with enough force to fuck up that guy's face. And then again in this episode, he blows a toothpick through a straw with enough force to take a guy's eye out like a fucking dart, dude. You gotta, like, you gotta think about the fact that this guy has got some insane, like, lung strength and, like, breathing strength to the fact that, like, to the point where, like, he probably could chug down a damn milkshake in, like, 2 seconds. Because of his, like, lung capacity, like, he wouldn't have to take a second to breathe. I know this is stupid, but it's something that I thought about, and it actually does make sense. That's the one thing when I watched that original clip of him in the diner earlier today, and I saw him chug down that milkshake in 2 seconds, and I was like, okay, like, why'd you need to do that? But I thought a little bit more about it, and I was like, wait, it actually kind of makes sense, and it's actually kind of funny. Um, Yeah, he does that, and then like I said, the toothpick in the guy's fucking eye, and then he's throwing silverware all over the place. He's damn near rizzing up the waitress at the damn diner. Like I said, this dude and Wilson Bethel plays him to be so fucking charming, and he's written to be so fucking charming, and it's so fun to watch because like you know what's up. Like he's not fooling anybody besides the waitress, but he's just so damn charming. And like with his neighbor and everything, and like he's making eggs in the morning, and he's fucking making his bed and doing all his fucking morning routine. Like just everything was so perfect. And dude, the lobster kill, oh my god. Dude, the lobster kill was literally the fucking, like, you know, the meme. I don't know if you're chronically online like I am in TikTok comment sections and stuff, the meme of the cherry on top of the cake. That shit was the cherry on top of the cake, dude. That was the damn fucking jar of cherries on top of the cake. Like, no bullshit. That was my favorite part of the whole thing, when he fucking took the dude's lobster and killed a damn task force member with it, bro. That was so cool, man. And the ketchup on the door, bro. This, like, you can't do any better than this. Like, this is as good as it gets, dude. There's no better than this. Like, it's just everything, just everything. And this is before the damn title sequence starts, dude. Like, that's how loaded this fucking episode is. Like, all of this happens before the title sequence. Like, it's such a great cold open, and it's just such a great like reintroduction to Bullseye's character. I know we've seen like little bits and pieces of him throughout the season so far, but this was like our true reintroduction to Bullseye since we saw him last season and in the Netflix show and yada yada. He's so fucking amazing. And then you have, what's after that? Mostly just filler. I mean, not filler, but stuff that I was less interested in, like, all of the people, like Matt and Swordsman having their little conversation and whatever. He's like letting Matt, he's like, oh, I'm going to give you my account and you can buy whatever, you want. Or that's not what he said, but like use it for whatever you need. Like, W rich guy. That's one of the rare W's that you see from rich guys nowadays. Swordsman, he's a great character. What else do we have here? I'm just gonna skip to the other Bullseye shit. I'm just gonna skip to the other shit that, wait, no, because actually, there was something that I did very much appreciate in this episode, and that was, I appreciated it, but it also kind of made me like the visuals of the show less. And it was the flashbacks they had to the Netflix show. Like when Karen and Matt are talking about Fogwell's gym, and it literally flashes back to scenes from the Netflix show, unedited, by the way. They flash back to the Netflix show, and it's the original aspect ratio, the original, like, everything. It's untouched footage. And it's great. I love those callbacks, and I love the fact that they actually flash back to scenes from the Netflix show. But when they do that, it really just shows how much worse this show looks than the Netflix show. And I understand they're stylistically different, but like I said in my last review, and this is a point that I'll stand by, just because it's different doesn't make it good. And when you literally, in this episode, when they show footage from the Netflix show, and it just looks so much better in every aspect than Born Again, it kind of puts a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. I was willing to forgive it because of all the other shit going on in this episode, but it is something that kind of lingers in the back of your mind. At least it lingers in the back of my mind, of like, this show is very much visually inferior to the Netflix show. If you want to compare, it is visually inferior. It's not the worst looking thing I've ever seen. It looks about 5% better than your average MCU slop, but it's really nothing. Like, they do some cool shit with the camera tricks and the cinematography and the composition and everything like that, but on a visual and like color standpoint, or like a lighting and color standpoint, it's so far below the Netflix show, like light years underneath the Netflix show. And it is very apparent in this episode when they literally show footage from the Netflix show and then cut back to present day Born Again. It's night and day, dude. It is night and fucking day. But I got a little sidetracked. I did like the fact that they flash back to the Netflix show. It shows that they truly do appreciate and have a respect for that show, which I very much appreciate. Um, and I loved the whole scene where Matt goes back to Clinton Church, and you get another flashback to the Netflix show. And he's in the anti-vigilante task force like outfit, so like obviously he's not going there as Matt Murdock, but it was like a nice little like not callback, but like a nice little like character moment for Matt, even though like, the guy he's talking to like doesn't know it's Matt Murdock or whatever, but he was able to give these little details like, oh yeah, I grew up here, and oh, I knew a blind kid that, and he does this little prayer and everything. I thought that was great. I love that the fact that they're bringing Matt's Catholicism back into the fold that was severely lacking in season 1. They literally had like one or two things that alluded to Matt's Catholicism in season 1, and it was a fucking travesty that season. Like they barely acknowledged the fact that he's Catholic, even though that is such a huge part of his character in the Netflix show. And I'm glad that they're bringing that back. I don't think there's nearly enough of it. If I'm being completely honest with you, even still. But I do like the fact that they're giving us something. So yeah, I thought that whole scene was great. Like I said, the show is still very much visually just like whatever. But yeah, I liked that scene a lot, and I liked all of the callbacks and the whatever. That was great. And then we have Matt and Bullseye fighting in Dex's apartment, and that was great. I thought that was a great fight scene, like him throwing the disc and all this stuff. Matt with his crazy reflexes, and some of the stuff in this fight was just so goofy, but I didn't mind it, like Matt and Dex like punching each other in the face at the same time. Like that was goofy as shit, but like honestly, I don't even care because I understand that the show is going for more of like a heightened reality, like comic book style uh, style, I guess. That's the word I was looking for, but because of that, like I'm okay with shit like that, like Matt and Dex punching each other in the face at the same time and screaming at the same time, and some of the more goofier shit that they can get away with in Born Again. Like if that happened in the Netflix show, it'd be corny as hell and I would hate it. But in this show, it's fine. Like I acknowledge the difference in style, and that makes it okay for shit like that to happen. And I honestly kind of get a little bit of a kick out of it. Like it is kind of silly, and I like it. Because it's okay for Daredevil to be silly sometimes. I know that some of you fucking idiots think that he has to be dark and deep and depressed all the time, just like, Batman, but these characters can have a sense of humor. These characters can be in sillier things. These characters can have humorous moments. They're not completely devoid of life, you guys. Jesus. But yeah, I like the little sillier moments like that. But I thought the whole little fight scene in Dex's apartment was great, and the whole conversation that they have when Dex is holding his neighbor at gunpoint, and he's talking to Matt about the one good deed. I thought that whole conversation was actually very well written, and I love the exchange between them. It really, like, at this point I'm sitting, sorry, I have to move the mic back, but I'm sitting forward, and I'm fucking like that meme where the guy is like sitting up in his chair and he's locked in. At this point I'm fully locked in. Like I'm sitting up and I'm locked the fuck in, dude. And yeah, man, I just, oh god damn, I just love this episode, dude. But yeah, that whole exchange between Matt and Dex in Dex's apartment was great. I loved that whole thing. And then Dex gets away and he knocks the guy out off of his little scooter, and then I assume he takes that over to Fogwell's gym. And then you have this whole thing with BB and what's his name? Daniel. I thought that was great. I thought the tension, even though it's separate from the whole Matt and Bullseye thing, the tension from that was carried over very well into this thing with Daniel and BB, and the guy that brings her the SD card, like sneaks it into her back pocket, and you get this moment of pause from Daniel where he's like, you think that he's like caught onto her or something, and maybe he has, but he doesn't like say anything in the moment. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see whether or not he really picked up on that. But yeah, that was very like, and these are characters that I didn't really care about that much before, but I'm starting to like actually give a shit about them, like especially Daniel, like in BB, like their whole storyline and the whole like I'm starting to dig it, and the fact that I was actually fucking nervous during this scene between them like shows that like, I am starting to care about them, and I appreciate that. And so yeah, that whole little exchange was great. That whole little scene between them in line outside Fogwell's gym, it was very nerve-wracking, and I liked it. And then you got at this point, like I'm sitting, like you got to understand, from the moment I think Matt and Dex have that fight in his apartment, and then they're having their little conversation, when he's holding the lady at gunpoint. From that point forward, I am fully locked in. Like, I am Daredevil season 3 levels of nervous and locked in, dude. Like, dude, this shit had me giddy, bro. Like, this shit had me feeling like I felt when I watched the original Netflix show, especially season 3. Like, just like the levels of like nervousness and tension that I have like for these characters, like, and like what the fuck is gonna happen type of shit. Like, that is very much was like channeling through my whole body during this whole final sequence, dude. And it definitely took me back to when I was originally watching the Netflix show for the first time, and I had that same feeling, and I am glad that the show is making me feel that way again. Like, it's so great. And then you've got the whole Fisk boxing thing. That was a great. I love that whole set piece. And he's beating the shit out of this guy, whatever his name is, the professional boxer. Whom, if you hadn't said he was a professional boxer, then I would have just assumed that he was some chump that they picked up off the street. Because I know Kingpin is strong, but this guy was getting folded from the first 5 seconds of the fight. Like, he's supposedly some crazy ass good professional boxer with like a 23-2 record, but he's getting laid out by somebody who has no boxing experience. I guess he has fighting experience, but like, I mean, he got fucking laid out. I don't even think he got one hit in. I think actually maybe he got like 1 or 2 good licks in before he got just like incapacitated. That dude's gonna be eating through a straw for the next 12 years. But and then Vanessa shows up. And that's when you're like, who? Because going into this episode, I was very confident that she was going to die, that she was going to get slimed out by Bullseye. I was very confident. But there was a couple of moments earlier in the episode, or like, in the middle of the episode, where I was like, maybe it's not going to be this episode. Like, maybe he's going to try to take a shot at her, but it's not going to work, or he's going to try to take a shot at Fisk. I don't know, because like I remember seeing specifically this clip in the trailer of Fisk with he's getting held back by the task force, and then he's got the gun, and he reaches over the ropes and he's about to shoot somebody. That's what really had me, because I knew that was going to be this episode, and those clips were really damn, I can't speak. Those clips are what really had me convinced that was going to be the scene that Vanessa died in, or that Bullseye was going to kill her, and Fisk was going to have that crazy reaction and pull out the Glock and start shooting in front of the crowd, publicity be damned, he's gonna kill the man that just killed his wife. But there were some moments in this episode that kind of had me second guessing that. The fact that Vanessa wasn't there, and yada yada yada. The fact that he was talking to Matt, and but all this stuff and whatever. And so I was second guessing it. But then Vanessa showed up, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, like it's going down, dude. Confirmed 100%, it's going down. And then it went down. Bullseye shows up, he starts sliming people out. everybody tries to escape and whatever, and it makes it even worse that fucking Vanessa was up there in the ring with him, like if she had been down in the crowd, maybe she might have had a little bit of a better chance of survival, like blending in with the crowd or whatever, even though she was wearing a bright ass white dress. But she was up there in the ring with him, and when they were kissing, that's when I thought she was gonna get a damn blade to the back or blade to the head, and then that they played that sound effect of somebody getting slimed out, and I thought it was going to be her for a second, but it was just Bullseye entering the scene, and he was killing some task force people, and there was panic, and everyone was yada yada, like leaving and running away and whatever. And I was like, oh shit, like shit's about to go down, and it got kind of messy, and then Bullseye throws that fucking thing, the glass thing or whatever, and I'm like, this is gonna be what does it. And then Fisk like shatters it with his like belt that he won for winning the boxing match. And I literally called it because I saw him break that thing, and I was like, wait, what if like a loose piece of glass still hits Vanessa, because he's just shattered that shit everywhere. And then they don't show it for like a minute or two, and then at the very end of the episode they show the shard in her head. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Yeah, so he breaks the thing, and then he gets shot. And I mean, I wasn't worried that Bullseye was gonna die. I mean, he's in other clips, so obviously he's in other parts of the season, and I'm pretty sure he's confirmed for season 3. Which thank God. If Bullseye died in this episode, I would stop watching. Like, no bullshit. But yeah, so that happens, and then he like tries to take a shot at, I don't remember, maybe take another shot at Vanessa or take a shot at Fisk, and then Matt stops him, blah blah blah, and then they fly out the window, whatever. We saw a set leak of that a long time ago, of them falling through the window of Fogwell's gym, and they run away, blah blah blah, and then it's revealed, oh no, Vanessa has a shard of glass in her head, and then she falls to the ground, and I'm assuming she dies. If she survived that, I'd be really fucking surprised, and honestly a little bit pissed off, because it kind of lessens the impact of the ending of that episode and the whole build up to that. But I am assuming that she is going to die from that. I don't know if next episode is going to like pick up immediately after this one leaves off, or if it's going to be like a cold cut to a hard cut to a funeral, or what the fuck is going to happen. I don't know, but Vanessa has got to die from that, right? Like that's the whole point of this whole fucking ending, is that she's done. Like Fisk is going to be out for blood for the back half of the season. And so, yeah, man, I love the way it was all executed, and it was just great. I loved damn near everything about this episode. Like I said, and this is something that I'm never really going to get over, but it's kind of just something that I have to accept, is that this show is always just going to kind of look okay. Like, it's never going to, and like I said, there are some camera tricks that they do here and there, and funny, wacky, not funny, but like cool, wacky things that they do with the camera movement and the angles and the, some of the coloring that they do for like Bullseye or whatever. But like, just like on a most of this show, it just looks fine. It doesn't look awful. It doesn't look like Captain America Civil War airport battle, where it's just like the grayest fucking thing you've ever seen. But it's also doesn't really stand out that much, right? Like most shots are just mostly visually flat. Like they're just fine, and I'm okay with that, honestly. I'm kind of just gonna have to accept that, and just accept the fact that this show is always just gonna look like that. It's just gonna look fine. Like I said, it's not the worst looking thing I've ever seen in my life, but it is nothing remarkable. And there are some shots in the show that I do like, but for the most part, it just looks okay. And honestly, I think I was a little bit more okay with it this time around, like for this episode, because the plot was so juicy and I was so invested in what was going on. I wasn't sitting there thinking to myself like, wow, this kind of just looks like meh, like this looks mid or whatever, or the Netflix show looks so much better than this. Like, no, I wasn't thinking that, because I was fucking locked the hell in, dude. I was sitting all the way up in my damn seat and fucking eyes lasered to the screen, but it's when the show is at its more mundane levels of like, me being invested in it, that I do notice those things, and that's kind of why I was harping on it so much, I think, in the last time around, because I wasn't that invested in what was going on, so I was taking notice of more of like the visual issues, and I was just like getting tired of it, and I was like blah blah blah. And though all of those same, like, nothing is different here visually than it was last episode, but I don't care as much this time around because I was so invested and I was so locked in. So hopefully I they can keep my attention for the rest of the season, so I don't have to notice like the not below average, kind of just average visuals, right? Like they're not bad, like I said, but they're just kind of like okay. They're just kind of all right. Um but yeah, that's really the only like major qualm I have with the show. It's at this point, and I know this is kind of like a bad mindset to have, and I think it says a lot about the show, but it's kind of just something that I have to turn my brain off for and just like passively watch it. Not that it's just like slop that I need to turn my brain off to fully enjoy. It's not slop, and it has its nuances, and it has its details, and it has its things that it does exceptionally well. But it's one of those things that I don't need to hyper analyze it, right? Like, it's the things that I have a problem with are going to stay the same, and I just need to, like, if I take notice and complain about them every single time, I'm never going to enjoy the episode. And so I think I just need to kind of not shut my brain off necessarily, but just like I don't really know the right way to articulate the point I'm trying to get across here, but kind of just like I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe I wasn't really doing anything different, and the plot was just more interesting this time around. I don't know. I'm not sure, but regardless, I'm more invested in what's going on now, and I think that so far this season has proven itself. It was hard for me to get behind those first 3 episodes, but once this one hits, everything kind of locks into place. It's like when you knock over a line of dominoes, and when the last one falls down, they all kind of fall all the way down, like, into place. Like, that's kind of what it feels like now, right? Like, it didn't fully feel like I was able to get behind it in those first 3 episodes, but now the final domino has fallen and everything's falling into place. Well, obviously not the final domino because we still have another half of the season left, but I'm behind it now. Like, I'm invested, and I can only hope that they keep my interest consistently throughout the rest of the season, which I've heard from all the people who said this is when the show gets good, that it doesn't slow down and it continues to be good. So I'm very hopeful for the rest of the season. I thought this episode was great. And I thought the last couple of episodes, episodes 1, 2, and 3, 2 and 3 specifically, because I kind of gave those ones a bad rap in my last review, and I went back and rewatched them, like I said, and they're not that bad. They're fine. They're nothing exceptional, but I think they did what they needed to do and got us to the point that we needed to be at for me to be able to enjoy this episode as much as I did, and I am appreciative of them for that, and I think they're very perfectly fine episodes, and I think they've got good action. I don't really know like I said, I don't really know what I was talking about with the action last time. It's good. It's good action, just because it's different from the Netflix show. This is one of those things that is different from the Netflix show, but it's also good, right? Like, this is when the show really has its sauce, in the fight sequences, and specifically that one in the prison where it's like the one take, not a true one take because they had hidden cuts or whatever, but all that stuff. It was pretty cool. I was actually, what made me flip on it actually was I was watching, I think I was scrolling on Twitter or something, and I saw like a clip of it, or maybe it was just a whole fight sequence video on it or whatever, and I was listening to, what's the damn song called? It's a Song for the Dead by Queens of the Stone Age. I fucking love that song, by the way. I love all their music, but I was listening to that song and I was watching the clip, And something about that fight scene with that music over it, the music I was listening to, that shit just that was so fucking metal, dude. Like that was so metal, bro. Like that really is what kind of made me flip on it. And cuz my opinions do change a lot. Like just a disclaimer, and it's going to happen in the future. It happens with almost everything. I change my opinions more than I change my damn shirt, and I have so many shirts like you wouldn't fucking believe, dude. Um but yeah, I do change my opinions a lot. They kind of flip-flop around a lot of the time depending on, the lens that I kind of view things through or the mindset that I'm in when I watch certain things or yada yada yada. There's a bunch of shit that goes into it. Like there would be for anybody. I'm not unique in saying this, but um yeah, I don't really know where I even started with any of that, but oh yeah, my point is that I kind of went back and rewatched the last two episodes and I like them. That's all I'm going to say. And this episode was fucking phenomenal, and I can only hope that the rest of the show, the rest of the season, keeps this momentum and keeps me as locked in as I was during this episode, because I was really locked in and I was happy, and I felt like I was damn 14 years old again watching the Netflix show for the first time. Like it really had me like feeling that like level of like it's excitement and emotion, and just like that's all I can really ask for at this point. The visuals are what they are. The lighting is what it is, the coloring is what it is, blah blah blah. The visual inferiority to the Netflix show is what it is. I've accepted it at this point, and as long as the show keeps reeling me in like this with the juicy plot they got going on, that keeps me invested and keeps me like feeling that like feeling of like dopamine or serotonin, whatever the chemical is that makes you fucking giddy and excited for shit. As long as it keeps that shit flowing, I'm locked in, dude. I'm locked in. If the rest of these episodes are as good or better than this one, I'm fucking locked in. Like 100% I'm locked in. This episode was great. I give it like a 9 out of 10. It was fucking great. It was amazing. And I'm very excited to. I'm kind of spinning. I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. I'm spinning in circles, but I'm very excited to see where this season goes now, and it has fully reeled me in. It took a minute, but this season has fully. I'm behind it now. Like I'm ready, and I'm excited now. Like I'm pumped, and I'm fully invested. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the episode. I don't really think there's anything that I missed or skipped over. There was some stuff with Mr. Charles, but it was just fine. It was whatever. Um, but yeah, this great episode, and we are really back this time. We are really back, like for real. So yeah, I'll see you later.